Welcome to Suite 832. My name is Jameson,
My name is Michael Atunzu, your favorite big brother.
and this is episode number 3. We made it to episode 3.
We made it to episode 3. It's a
That's
blessing.
crazy.
It's crazy, but
I'm so proud. We should be proud of
we
ourselves.
should be proud. It's a good look, and happy to be sharing this moment with you guys and really
Yes.
just taking everything in. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. But
Yeah.
before we do that, how are you feeling?
1 to 10, I would say I'm a good 7.5. I'm at a good place
Okay.
mentally. So yeah, as you can see, I messed up my finger.
Yeah, I was gonna say something about that. It's like
Yeah.
a big cotton ball on your index.
That really
finger.
set us back too, just to be fully transparent, because the devil be on your back. I told y'all last episode.
Oh yeah.
But I literally dropped a window on my hand, a broken window on my hand, split my finger in half. I'm being dramatic, but split my finger in half. And that was a day and the night that we were supposed to actually shoot this episode. So it just put a monkey wrench in our plans.
Yeah.
But I do think that ultimately there was probably a purpose for it. And I don't know, you never know what happened. We could have had a terrible show that night.
It could have been. So, we really just roll with the punches. We just
Yeah.
roll with it. And to be honest, I'm just glad Jameson is doing good. And it's not
Oh,
like
that's
his
a good
whole
one.
hand. It's just his index finger. So can't be really pointing, but
I know. We getting there. I get the stitches out Tuesday, so we'd be good.
you'll be fine. You'll live to see another day.
I think so.
Yeah, absolutely.
How are you?
I'm feeling okay for the most part. I'm
Okay.
feeling okay. I do want to say this past few days, as a recent, has been a mixture of uncertainty. How
Mhm.
things have been playing, have been unveiling themselves in my life, personally, professionally.
Yeah.
A lot of things that I don't know, but I'm starting to just lean into my faith even more. So when
Mhm.
there's a sense of uncertainty where I feel like I don't know my, step 10 or step 12,
Yeah.
but I know step 1 and step 2, I just lean on God and know that, okay, despite not knowing
Yeah.
tomorrow or next month, I know that everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And God said not to worry. My mama said not to worry.
Mhm.
So those two have never let me down. So
Yeah.
I'm just full head of steam and feeling good about
Yeah.
everything.
I feel like when we get into those moments, that's such a anxiety inducing kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I also feel like that's one of the most powerful moments too, because that allows God to show his hand.
Absolutely.
And it really makes you lean on him and lean on your actual faith, puts that into action.
Yeah, you have no choice.
Yeah.
You legit have no choice. And I feel like it happens for a reason.
For sure. Everything happens for a reason, even if it breaks your finger.
It
It happens for a reason.
Even if your finger gets broken
Yeah.
about an hour before shooting,
That's
it's for a
ridiculous.
reason.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, none of us know 10 steps ahead. We really only got to take one step at a time
Yeah.
and do the best we can.
Amen to
Doing
that.
the best we can with what we got.
Hey, well, what we got.
What
we
Isn't
got.
that a meme that Mariah said or something like that?
Huh.
You ever seen that meme?
The Mariah meme?
Yeah.
Doing the best I
I'm
can?
doing the best I can with what I got.
Nah.
I gotta send it to you.
You gotta send it to me. The only memes I'll be seeing Mariah's around Christmas time. When we get into that time,
I'm excited for Christmas, but
she be
we'll talk
making
about that.
billions. Talking about billions off the.
She's the queen of Christmas.
She is.
Yeah, she's the Mrs.
It's
Claus.
number one on we just gonna keep running it back.
Yeah.
Every parade around Christmas, fully booked. And I
Listen,
love that for Mariah
I do
because
too.
she's
Shout out to
she's,
Mariah.
she's amazing. Shout out to
Yeah,
Mariah.
a legend.
real.
Let's take a toast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What are we drinking today? It's something simple today, no?
Yeah, of
We
course.
got a little simple drink.
So-
we got the tequila, right?
Yeah, the tequila.
Yeah.
Shout out to tequila, and I'm not gonna say the exact name of it,
brand.
but until we get that sponsorship, y'all know the email address. Go ahead and holler at your boy.
Yes.
But let's toast. I want to toast to just leaning into faith despite circumstance, despite everything that you may be going through, just to lean into your faith and know that everything is going to be okay.
Yeah.
You don't need to know step 10, step 11. Just continue moving forward, and you need not worry because everything is going to be okay. So I
Yes.
want to shout out to God and faith
I
on
love
that.
that. I love that. I feel like I don't even want to add any. I
You
just
just
want to
want to
toast to
jump.
that.
Hey, let's just toast to that, brother.
All right.
Okay. There we go.
Let's do
Hey,
it again because
there we
you be
go.
tripping.
There we go. A disclaimer. My right contact is a little fuzzy, so it looks like I'm
So he can
crying.
have C.
I know it looks like I'm crying, but I'm not crying.
All right. So we finna go into this icebreaker. You guys know, as we played on episode 2, we are using the "We Are Not Really Strangers" card game.
Absolutely.
So, as we did before, I will pull one. Answer quickly for you.
Yeah.
We'll do kind of like a rapid fire answer,
Okay. Let's see.
and vice versa for myself. So there's 3 tiers. Tier 1 is perception, tier 2 is connection, and tier 3 is reflections. So let's see. I'll let you pull.
All right. I'm pretty good at pulling. Pretty lucky here. Let's see. So any of these, right?
Whichever tier you want.
So we don't go with the second one here. I gotta feel it. You know when you gotta feel it?
Okay.
Yeah. Not this one, not that one, but somewhere here.
All right.
All right. So, what is the most unexplainable thing that's ever happened to you? Whew.
That's such a deep question. The most unexplainable thing?
The most unexplainable thing that's ever happened to you.
I guess that could be good or bad.
That could be anything. I like that question. That's a little deep.
It is. This freaking finger dropping. This window dropping on my finger.
Can't explain it.
No funny, like yeah. But outside of that, unexplainable thing.
See, this is completely random. I literally just pulled this card, and Jameson has no idea. So
yeah, unexplainable thing. That's
if you want to let that marinate, I can go ahead and answer mine.
yeah. Answer yours.
Okay, so the most unexplainable thing that's ever happened to me, I would probably say it had to be a collection of all my testimonies.
Mm,
A lot of things that I can't explain, I legit can't explain, but it's
yeah,
legit just God. And legit when you know when you have no explanation, like, ah, dang, like I legit thought I left my wallet in
yeah,
Cancun, but it seems to be in my bag.
yeah.
Or one thing happened. I'll say this, for example. This is another testimony. I left my cell phone
Mhm.
on the I left my cell phone on my car on my way to church. And when I was leaving my car and headed to church, I
Mhm.
realized midway when I was walking that I didn't have my cell phone. But I was already running late to church by maybe 10, 15 minutes. And I checked my pockets like midway, and I'm like, dang, I don't got my phone. But I had my Bible in hand and I had my journal in
Yeah,
hand.
you was gonna see it through.
And I was in the middle of Brooklyn, and I said, you know what? I'm just gonna go for it and just continue going because I don't want to be more late
Yeah.
to this service. So I decided to, instead of putting my focus and attention on the problem at the time, which was not knowing my cell phone,
Yeah.
I just continued to glaze on God and continue to approach church knowing I was running late.
Yeah.
And then after this service, I come to find out that I left my cell phone on the back of my car in the middle of Brooklyn.
And it didn't even fall.
No, it didn't fall, but more importantly, it wasn't stolen. This is Brooklyn.
Yeah, and your church
This
is
yeah, you know where my church
East
is.
New York.
It's New
Like,
York.
Yeah.
It's New York. Shout out to CCC Christian Cultural Center. But yeah, it was still there. So I can't explain why it was still there,
Yeah.
but I believe it was God, and no one took my iPhone. It's a
the
newer
Pro is
iPhone.
expensive.
Yeah,
You got the 15?
you're not supposed to call me out like that. It's fairly new. It's actually.
You got? Because I got the 14. I'm not ashamed.
I'm not ashamed either. It is what it is. I got the 11. The 11.
All right. So
The 11.
it's my turn.
It's your turn.
I think I'm gonna go with something a little lighter on tier 1.
All right, tier 1.
All right. Yeah, I don't.
Ain't nothing wrong with the 11 Pro Max. Let me just make that clear.
That is like literally 5 series behind.
It's all right.
No judgment. I don't like this question.
Go ahead and pull it back.
Do you think I was popular in school? Explain.
Do I think you were popular in school?
Yeah.
I think you were the. I don't think you were super popular in high. Is this high school?
When I think of popularity, I think of high school because I feel like
because no one really talking about popularity really in college like that.
Yeah, or before.
I'm thinking you weren't so much popular back then, and then things started to stem as you continue to grow in college. I feel like you're more like a hidden gem, and you had your root. You had your root and core friends of people.
Yeah.
And anybody who knew you knew like, oh, this guy, I need to hang around this guy. This guy is a man of substance, is a man of material.
Yeah.
Inner material, not stuff you just purchase or buy.
Yeah.
But I don't think you were really known. I feel like you were pretty moving. I don't know, moving slow, but
yeah, I hated high school.
You hated high school?
I hate school in general.
Talk about it.
Sorry, but I hated school. But oddly enough, I did hang around the popular kids. But I was at the same time like that guy that was like in the background. Like I was just around, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like I wasn't in drama. I wasn't in nothing. Like barely in sports.
Yep.
Like I was just around.
Yeah.
Like I was literally just waiting to get out of my hometown, if that makes sense. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I would say like I agree with that.
Okay.
For you, I would say, I think you probably were, because you give me like, you just very like talkative, just very friendly. Like it would, like somebody would have to be hating to not like you.
I had a couple of haters.
I'm sure you
I had a
did,
couple
but
of
like
haters.
you have to really like have like a deep hate to not like somebody like you. So I just feel like you were that extroverted person.
That's love.
But yeah,
I appreciate that, and I
feel like the teachers loved you too.
Dang, bro, you had a conversation with my teachers. I was voted teacher's favorite back in high school. Teachers love me. Students love me. I'm just, I just put my authentic self out there, and whoever likes me or loves me is gonna like me or love me, and whoever doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's just not through high school. That's through college, and that's through after college too. And I feel like we put too much of emphasis at times to be the popular kid, popular person, steering away from our authentic self to be someone of either influence or ideology. And that's
and then people that was popular in high school, they washed now. Y'all are... y'all gonna make me the bad guy, but y'all are washed. Like y'all were popular at one time, but there's so many people, as you know, that live on, like hang on to that high school or college popularity, and they don't evolve and they don't grow from there.
Yeah,
people get stuck in that. Oh, I was the
glory days.
The glory, yeah,
the glory days.
The glory days. Like, oh, I was this football championship. I led us to the championship, or like I led us to the track, whatever. Like it comes a certain. Let it go. Like you're 29 now. Like let it go. You're an adult. What are you doing now?
And this isn't to
down you, but I'm just saying
this is
like,
to push you forward.
Yes,
kind of thing.
And like popularity is sometimes it's just for a moment if it doesn't have substance.
Yeah.
I would rather be popular for being, I think the word is substantial, like just having like
Substantial
substance.
and things that you've
Like
ach-
being known for something that matters, basically, instead of being known for clout.
man, what
And
a
that's a
lot
whole nother.
that's a whole nother topic. A lot of this stuff doesn't matter in the
It
next
doesn't.
year or two, but I feel like we can go on and on about
We
this.
really can.
We actually need to make another episode about this. This is good.
Yeah.
But I think I'm gonna fast forward us to our topic.
Let's do
today.
it.
All right. So today's topic is titled Boys Do Cry. All right. Boys do cry. So we want to address this topic based off of the recent video that went viral, which is, of course, Tyrese going viral for showing his vulnerability on the Breakfast Club when he was asked a couple questions about his life and how that's been going for him. And this man, who I do admire as a person, he broke down in tears, and he wasn't he put the tissues away and just allowed himself to be present and vulnerable in that moment and express himself fully, not only for himself but for the public to see.
Yeah.
So I really want to get into this topic, boys do cry. And before we get into the first question, Jameson, Jameson picked out the topic title, and I like it because it says boys do cry.
Yeah.
Emphasis on boys, right?
Yeah.
So I think this really,
and that correlates to men, of course, in general.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a, I guess there's a stigma in some way of what a man should be, how a man should act, or how a man should deal with emotion.
absolutely.
And I feel like something along my journey and just along like my platform and my brand in general, I don't ever want to promote toxic masculinity in some way.
Yeah.
I want, and when I raise my son and raise my children, I don't want them to feel like it's bad to show your emotions, because as a man, I feel like that's almost like a powerful thing to have.
Absolutely.
Like to be able and to be comfortable enough in yourself to show emotion. I feel like that speaks volumes opposed to you pushing through and just, taking life as it comes to you or whatever all the sayings are. I feel like you showing emotion to your partner or showing emotion to your kids just shows you as a human being, and that it takes you afar and a long way. And I just really think that that's something that should be touched on more.
It should be. And it should be touched on not only when you're an adult, but
Yeah.
it should be touched on as you're growing up through your childhood, through your adolescence. Emphasis on boys, right? So this isn't just when you're a man. This stems from your upbringing, right? So boys do cry. Growing up as a boy, it was, unless you had that in your household of showing emotions, whether it's to your parents or to your friends, or you were introduced to that emotional vulnerability, that emotional awareness, that emotional intelligence, you really didn't show that.
Yeah, if you were given that space in some way.
Yeah.
A lot of times guys are told, boys don't do that, or boys don't cry, or
boys don't wear pink. There's a lot of things that boys aren't supposed to do. Boys aren't supposed to cry. It's all I guess society rules and things of that nature. But not going too far into that, I do want to ask you a question, Jameson. So when is the last time you cried? And for what reason? Don't think too deep. Answer honestly and just, keep it 1,000.
Oddly enough, I cry for the good times and the bad times.
Okay.
I don't know if I can remember the exact last time that I cried, but if I cried, I really think that it probably was because of like something good. I really can't give you like.
What was a good reason why you cried? If you want,
I could cry for anything. I could cry in a movie. Like it's just, I don't know. Like I don't know. I cry for the good things because that's my way of showing gratitude for the good things.
Mm.
Um, I cry when I pray sometimes. I cry when I praise. I cry when I'm hurt. I feel like crying is just a release of emotion, and that emotion doesn't always have to be bad or negative or sad or whatever. Sometimes crying is just like thankfulness and just showing like your gratitude for the position that you're in. Very
Absolutely.
grateful. I'm very free when it comes to crying. I don't care.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that is a testament to the kind of person you are in your upbringing.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful. Shout out to you and
Yeah.
of course God and the
Yeah.
people who poured into you to be the person you are today and
Mhm.
the person you continue to be and elevate to. So
Yes.
happy for you there.
Thank you. When's the last time you cried though?
Man, I'm crying right now with this contact. I know everybody see me wiping my tears. Just bear with me. Like, I'm giving y'all the authentic me, crying with my contacts, no haircut. Jameson got me like glistening with all this
We have
moisturizer.
God. We're getting him right
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
camera. Okay.
But if I'm being completely honest, the last time I cried has to be last week. I was at a wedding. I was the best man at my best friend's wedding, Dr. Ian Shaw,
Mm-hmm.
and I was giving a speech on my relationship with him and what kind of person he is to me and what kind of person he is to the people who were there to witness his love and his ceremony with his wife, Katie.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have anything prepared for that speech, and I really just spoke from the heart, and I allowed myself to be vulnerable. And there was nothing sad about the moment. Like you said, there was nothing sad about the moment. I was extremely happy what we were celebrating, why we were there. But I just did have a rush of emotions because everything that he's done for me and the way he's shown up for me and the way I've shown up for him is very deep, and it's a testament to our friendship and our bond. And that sense of, I don't know, that feeling of when you cry, you outpour like that, the sense of just breathing, vulnerability, and you just let it flow is unlike no other. You know, you have your different feelings, right? Your different emotions where you express, but there's something very unique about crying, whether it's for sadness, whether it's for happiness. And yeah, I think it's super important to embrace that and not steer away from it. Yeah.
Do you feel like you pick and choose like who you cry in front of?
That's a good question. That's not even on the card.
I know. It's just something that came in my head.
I love that. I used to pick and choose who I cry in front of because I used to try and be, I can't cry. I can't cry. This isn't the time or place to cry. But that slowly started to dissolve as I was, as late as grad school. Not even in college. I didn't have that emotional awareness, emotional intelligence in college, but in grad school it started to develop where I was more comfortable crying in front of close friends and in front of people. And that slowly started to develop even more. So like back in grad school, I wasn't going to cry in front of no crowd. It wasn't happening. It wasn't happening just because that's the way I grew up. I didn't see other people cry. I wasn't crying. That was the mentality. So I had to backtrack and really grow. I think it takes a sense of
growth for sure.
Growth to do that.
I think for me, I'll cry in front of almost anyone that's close to me, like my inner circle of friends or like my family or, people that are close to me, people that know me. I don't have a problem with that. It's like, why are you here if you can't console me while I'm crying? But like, I do try my best not to crash out in front of the public. Because listen, some stuff can make you crash out in life. even on
Yeah.
social media sometimes, like I have to reel it back sometimes.
Yeah. You just on the train, the New York subway, crying, bawling
Sometimes I
tears.
just gotta reel it back, and
Yeah.
that's because. And one thing that I do struggle with is along the journey of just life in general.
Yeah.
I always said that I wanted to be someone that portrayed all of the different facets of that journey, even the ups and the downs.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to be that crash out king.
This man always crying. Man,
No, and when I
Okay.
say crash out, I'm not even talking about just crying. I'm just talking about like being that overly emotional person that is angry or like sad or like anxious. Like I don't want to be that person that portrays that all the time,
Mm-hmm.
even to my close friends and family. But I do believe that there's a healthy amount of it.
Yeah.
Like there's a healthy amount that you can put onto somebody that's close to you, and not
overwhelm them.
Yeah, not overwhelm them and not I guess be inconsiderate in some way.
Yeah.
But that also comes with like your inner work and your inner growth and your inner evolution, just the evolution of who you are. Like you learn who you are, you know the people, you learn the people around you. Like you don't want somebody coming and crying to you about the same thing 10, 20 times all the time.
I think when we talk about emotional intelligence and emotional awareness, it's not only for yourself, but it's for the people you're around, right?
Yeah.
So like when you're breaking down crying or just not even crying, but you're just, hey, Jameson,
Emotion.
like I call you.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going through something. Do you have time right now? Do you have the mental capacity or emotional capacity for me to talk about this at this very moment?
Yeah.
You could be in the middle of, I don't know, NYC Fashion Week, which we got to talk about.
Yeah.
But you could be in the middle of anything, right?
Yeah.
And it may not be the best moment. You may have had an overwhelming day as well. So it's like, bro, I want to be there for you. I love you and I'm praying for you.
But I'm finna walk in the show.
But like I can't take this right now.
Yeah.
And that's okay. So I feel like you have to be extremely aware and considerate when expressing these emotions, especially when it's to your inner circle.
And that's one thing that I make sure that I do. Like if I have a close friend, and that's another thing, you got to know which friend to talk to. But apart from that, I try to do that mental check-in first to be like, how's your mental? Like, do you have the mental capacity to take on whatever I need to vent about or whatever I need to talk about or get off of my chest? Do you have that mental capacity, or is that gonna overload you?
Absolutely.
And from there, I move forward accordingly based on that reaction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I do want to ask you a question, steering from crying, but do you think society looks at overly emotionally sensitive men as less masculine in today's time?
Me 5-10 years ago would have said yes. But I think now, which I'm grateful for, I think that we have shifted into an era of accepting so many different types of just nature and types of anatomy, and just being like just a different type of being, basically. So I don't know if I will be able to say yes to that now in this day and age, but I think the traditional mindset and the traditional thought process, yes. Most people will, in that traditional mindset or that grew up traditionally, in some aspect, will feel as if this man is crying, he's weak. And I feel like as men, even now, honestly, some of us, we just still feel like if we're crying in front of anybody, granted, like Tyrese crying in front of the world, it's very it's easy to feel as if you're, I don't want to say demasculated, but it makes you feel as if you're like doing too much in some way.
Yeah.
In some way. But yeah, I feel like there's grace given nowadays. And I love to see that. Like there's grace. Like, yeah, it's just grace. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I do agree with you. I think it's based off of culture too. I think culture plays a big part of it. To be an adult sometimes is to be stuck in your ways and to
Yeah.
be stuck into whatever your dad did, whatever your mom did,
Hmm.
et cetera. But to um, not only have a shift within the culture, we have to take a look at our actions and reflect on our behavior. So it's just because something has been done or a certain perspective has been the norm for years and years doesn't mean it's necessarily right.
Yeah.
Right? So we need to question things. We need to be exposed to new information in order to renew our mind and
Hmm.
our reflection, our outlook of things, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like in today's society, it really depends on who you're around. I do feel like some people are now starting to come to the realization that, hey, being emotional, vulnerable, showing your emotions,
There's more
given
strength in that than anything.
there's more strength in that.
Yeah.
Strength isn't all about, how much you can lift, how much weight you can carry, your jewelry, how much
Yeah.
money you got, etc. No, it's about what's in here. And I feel like if you can put yourself on a stage or in front of people or in front of people you respect or people who you don't even know,
Yeah.
stranger wise, and show that, hey, I'm human
Yeah.
just like you. I bleed just like you.
And
I
I don't care
cry.
what you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I
That's the
cry just
strength.
like you.
Yeah.
I feel like there's strength in that. And um, I feel like if we can come to realize that, we can continue pushing the positive perspective
Yeah.
and shift that our culture needs.
For sure. I think growing up, there's so many different definitions of what masculinity is.
Mm.
And to wrap this conversation up, I want to know what your definition of masculinity is.
So that's an amazing question. And so when I think of Jameson, when I think of masculinity, I go back to my upbringing
Hmm.
and I go up to everything I've experienced up until this point. And that definition has shifted over the years. So I define masculinity in a sense of, am I one being a follower and servant of Christ
Hmm.
because he's my heavenly father?
Hmm.
And am I not only living in that, but am I expressing that to my greatest ability as a man? Um, I also attach the definition of masculinity in association to accountability and responsibility. Am I not only being an image of God and moving in his divine purpose, but am I caring for my family?
Yeah.
Am I caring for the people I love? Am I moving in pursuit of that?
Hmm.
So I don't tie masculinity in any kind of sense of materialistic or vanity, anything
Hmm.
dealing with that. It's more on the definition or more on the association with
Hmm.
how I'm moving. And is
Yeah.
it aligned with God's vision? As well as, am I taking care of the people who I love and the people who need me? Am
Yeah.
I being an example of that day by day?
I love that.
That's how I think about it. What about you? How would you? That's a loaded question.
It is.
What makes a man masculine to you?
I think there's so many angles to look at when it comes to masculinity
Mhm.
because a woman can have a masculine feature just as a man can have a feminine feature. Um, and I just feel like masculinity, in my opinion, because like I said, there's so many different pockets that you can get into when it comes to that. I
Absolutely.
feel like it all comes down to, this is so weird, but like
Say
your
it.
dependability.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to like family, I guess, or like friendship, are you dependable? Are you a man of your word?
Mm.
Um, and that kind of brings gender into it, but are you a man of your word? Are you someone that people can depend on? Like, are you a stand-up person? Are you a stand-up guy? Are you, when you say you're gonna do something, when you say you're gonna start a podcast, and when you say you're gonna start this business, or you say you're gonna go after this job and you're gonna get off your couch, are you gonna actually do that? Are you gonna literally get up and do it and do the actions? If something comes down and just knocks you down, are you gonna stay down or are you gonna get up? Masculinity to me is just rolling with the punches in some way of
Mm.
life.
Mm.
Um, and just being okay with that in some way. Being okay with the traditionality of taking out the trash, but also being okay with getting up when times get hard.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
When you
absolutely.
don't know how you're gonna how you gonna make ends meet. If you have a family, if you don't know when you're gonna be able to put food on the table, or if you're gonna be able to put food on the table, are you still gonna find a way to make that happen and not come up with any type of excuse? I feel like masculinity in its essence is that.
That's that's great. And I think
To me.
no, I think that's great. And I think to tie that in, it's not what you do, it's who you are and
Yeah.
how you express who you are with what you say and what you do. And it all comes down to your character, your
Yeah.
morals, your values, your integrity as a man,
Mhm.
and what's important to you, what's your priorities, and how do you express that? How do you show that to the people you're around?
Mhm.
It really needs to be rooted in you, and you have to know that for yourself in order to show up appropriately for people.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, how do you show up for people? What's your own definition of masculinity?
And I feel like we all need to create our own definition of masculinity. And
We
I feel
do.
like that's where we miss the mark, because we're going on a traditional sense or a societal sense of what masculinity should be or what femininity should be,
Mm.
when at the end of the day, choose your own
You,
like
you
choose your own way. You have the power of choice.
you have to define it for yourself, and I feel like a lot of people, and including myself at one point, we allow the world to define
What
my last oh, Lord Jesus.
that tequila hitting, boy.
Oh man.
That tequila
That's
hitting.
stop it. Stop it. We're gonna cut this out.
Yo, no, we
Um,
keeping it.
yeah, man,
But no, seriously, like,
masculinity, like
yeah,
you have to define it for yourself. And I feel
yeah,
like a lot of society defines it for us. And when they typically define it for us, uh, I like to box it or label it as somewhat toxic
oh, I
masculinity.
hate toxic. Yeah,
And
and it's easy to fall into that trap.
oh yeah, it's a big trap.
It's a big
It's a
trap.
big trap.
But I think to wrap this conversation up, I really want the young the young generation that may be watching, or the generation that's in transition, no matter what your age is, I really want people to understand that, one, it's okay to be yourself, but two, it's okay to show emotion. And that doesn't make you feminine as a man, and that doesn't make you less masculine. It doesn't demasculinate you. Is that the right
Yeah, we're
word?
gonna roll with that.
And just be comfortable in that, because that shows so much strength. Have a balance of breaking down, but get back up and go back and fight again. Break down, get back up and fight again. If you got to break down again, get back up and fight again. I think there's power and there's masculinity and there's strength in the getting back up and going and fighting again, more than it is in the front and the facade and the face and the mask that you put on to act like everything is okay when everything really isn't okay. And it's okay to go to therapy. It's okay to talk to the elders in your community or in your family or your friends. That's what they're here for. And
Mm.
if they don't receive you well, or if they have that toxic masculine mindset, then go and find a different group. And it doesn't mean, shame them for that, but just go and find your community that will understand your emotions and will help you process it in a healthy and positive way. The processing doesn't have to be drinking and smoking and going out all the time. We do that for leisure. We drinking on the podcast. We doing it just, socially,
Socially.
but don't depend on that to go through to process your emotions and to process your problems. Life is hard. And I think what's most important as far as navigating this hardness that life comes with is to be able to express it to the people that are closest to us. Because you may luck up and you may find somebody that feels the exact same way that you feel. And yeah, there's power. There's so much power in showing your emotion. And I want to see more men tap into that and not shy away from it. And I love seeing people like Tyrese not be afraid to cry on a major platform such as the Breakfast Club or wherever, because it shows so many young boys that it's okay. Yeah.
That was beautifully said.
Yeah.
That was beautifully said.
Thanks.
I just want to add to that is if you're far away from ever showing any sense of emotion, just take time to be with yourself and know God and really reflect back and define what masculinity means to you and define, okay, am I putting myself in a vulnerable position? Am I okay with that? Have I been okay with that? What is the core friends or core people I'm comfortable with
Mm-hmm.
talking about these kind of conversations and expressing these kind of emotions? It's going to be pretty difficult, especially if you're first starting out and you're first starting to let your guard down brick by brick.
Yeah.
But I can't stress it enough how important it is, and I think Jameson can agree. The emotions like no other.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sensational emotion that when you have that release, it brings wonders not only to your heart but to every kind of sensation in your body. So I just applaud you, and I want to encourage you to take that journey with yourself and with God to really pour in and reflect to how I can become more emotionally aware of my own emotions and my friends' emotions and how I can express that. And everyone expresses that differently,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you got to know what works for you and what works for your friends and when to express and when not. And it's not going to be just a battle like this. It's going to go up and down. So
Yeah.
you find out what works for you. And if you need any assistance with that, definitely DM myself, Jameson, or a close friend,
Or
anybody,
even
because
DM the page, the Sweet 832 page.
Sweet
We'd love
832
to.
page, because we're here for
Yeah.
you. We have room on our couch.
We do. It's very
And,
comfortable.
it's all love at the end of the day. And we love you guys.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for the support on the last 2 episodes. Thank you for watching this episode. We are Sweet 832. My name is Jameson.
My name is Michael Atenzu, and that wraps up this episode.
Yes, and we're out.